Good day everyone, congratulations for reaching up to this video. Well done. So our topic for today will be all about statistics and what statistics should we use for our experiment. Okay, so before selecting a possible statistical test, we must take note of the following. First, how many groups do we have? And are we using within or between subject design? And what is the level of measurement of our dependent variable? And lastly, what is the purpose of our test? Is it to know the difference, the relationship, or the correlation? By the way, the statistics that we will discuss are all parametric tests. Therefore, we are assuming that our data has a normal distribution. Okay, now let's first take a look at what could be the statistics that we will be using in this kind of situation. So we have between subject design and two independent groups, and we have an interval or ratio level of measurement for our dependent variable, and our purpose is to know whether there is a difference between our variables. Now let's put this into an experiment. So for example, I wanted to know whether there is a significant difference in the mathematics performance of the students when grouped according to their gender profile. So why do we say na meron tayong dalawang independent group? So our group A would be the performance of males and our group B would be the performance of females. Now we treat them independently and our ultimate interest is the difference in the dependent variable scores between these two groups. Now the students' mathematics performance will be based on their scores sa test, which is an example of a ratio scale. Therefore, the statistics that I will be using here is an independent t-test. So what is an independent t-test? It can also be called two-sample t-test, independent sample t-test, or student's t-test. It is an inferential statistical test that determines whether there is a statistically significant difference between the means in two unrelated groups. So unrelated groups meaning it is wherein an individual in one group cannot also be a member of the other group. Okay, so what statistics will we use if we have the same scenario, but we have a different level of measurement for our dependent variable, and it is in an ordinal scale? For example, I wanted to know whether there is a significant difference in the attitude towards President Duterte on both gender. Mas negative kaya ang tingin ng mga lalaki sa kanya or ang mga babae ang mas anti-President Duterte? And I will be using this through survey form. Therefore, they will rate their attitude on Duterte from 10 being the highest to 1 being the lowest. So the statistics that I'll be using here is a Mann-Whitney U-test. Mann-Whitney U-test is used to compare differences between two independent groups when the dependent variable is either ordinal or continuous, but not normally distributed. Reminder that Mann-Whitney U-test is a non-parametric test. However, in this case, we have no other parametric counterpart, so ito yung gagamitin natin. So ano naman ang gagamitin nating statistics if we have a nominal dependent variable? For example, I want to know whether there is a difference between food preferences among gender. Ang mga lalaki ba ay mas prefer ba ang Western foods or ang mga babae ba ay mas prefer nila ang Asian foods? So our dependent variable is clearly in nominal scale. Therefore, the statistics that I'll be using here is a chi-square statistics. A chi-square test for independence compares two variables in a contingency table. It tests to see whether distributions of categorical variables differ from each other. So this is a table to guide you on what statistics should you use in a between subject design with only two independent groups. Now we are done with between subject design. Let's now take a look at what statistics should we use in a within subject design. So what should we use if our dependent variable is an interval or ratio? And our purpose is, again, to know if there is a difference between our variables. Now, for example, I want to know if there will be a difference towards the time completion of 5 tangrams if the participants will be exposed to time pressure or not. So why do we consider this as a two-match group? Because our data is divided into two groups. One data is exposed to time pressure while the other data is not exposed to time pressure. But the difference here is that the same ang mga participants natin in both data or treatment. Test that we will use here is a paired t-test or t-test for dependent samples. It is used to find out if there is a difference that exists between the before and after treatment of your data. If there is a difference in favor of the post-test or second treatment, then the treatment or intervention is effective. This is used to test the effectiveness of a certain technique or method or program that had been developed by the experimenter. Now, how about if we have an ordinal scale? For example, a psychologist wanted to know if there are differences on the pain level of the participant when placed in a cold room or a hot room. So the test that we will be using here is the Wilcoxon test, which can also be referred as either the rank sum test or the sign rank test version. It is also a non-parametric statistical test that compares two paired groups. The test essentially calculates the difference between sets of pairs and analyzes these differences to establish if they are statistically different from one another. So this is a table to guide you on what statistics should you use in a within subject design with only two matched groups. So our next topic would be the statistics that we will be using in more than two treatments with multiple independent groups and multiple matched groups. So that's it for today. God bless and thank you for listening.